Hello, everyone, and welcome to the Press Box, where we give you our thoughts and views and we bring it to the table. And oh my goodness, last night, buddy, it was a crazy week of football last night. I'm Timmy,
And I'm Steven.
and we're here to answer the call. Monday Night Football, the doubleheader, man, the doubleheader, huh?
Yeah, it was interesting.
That was interesting, yeah. We have Ravens, Bucks, and Cardinals, Chargers. We're actually going to start with the Chargers, and well, let's just say I'm a little disappointed in Jim Harbaugh for not having the boys disciplined. There was a lot of fumbles in the game. There was 2 offensive fumbles, and then big man, and I can't blame the big man. He's not used to having the football in his hands, but Khalil Mack gets his hand up. Tart intercepts it, and then James Conner comes up and peanut punches it out, and Cardinals get the ball back. So that was one of the big momentum shifts in the game, I felt like, because, it was like, oh, okay, all of a sudden, the Cardinals are driving, and then all of a sudden, Chargers intercepted, and then it's a fumble, and it goes back like 30 yards. And then I think the Cardinals still went down and scored. So, and on the offensive side, they had 2 fumbles. So that's you can't do that. You got to be more disciplined. Hang on to that ball. I mean, you're taught that in Pop Warner, I think. Right? You're taught Pop Warner. Can you hear me? Uh-oh, I don't think he can hear me. Or maybe I can't hear him. One of the two. Testing.
Test.
Oh, yeah. Okay, we're back.
Okay. Yeah, now I can hear you. I couldn't hear you there for a second.
Okay, yeah. I was saying that I believe that in Pop Warner, you're taught to hold onto the ball, and the Chargers had 2 offensive fumbles. You can't do that.
Yeah. I mean, that's elementary stuff.
Also, they had like 59 yards rushing on 22 carries. That is bad. That is bad for a team that wants to be physical. That is bad for a team that wants to run the ball, control the clock. Justin Herbert had almost 400 yards passing in the game, and they only put up 15 points. I don't know.
Yeah, that's crazy.
I actually had the Chargers in this one. I thought, Jim Harbaugh would have his guys ready, with the extra day playing on Monday. But that's not the case. The Cardinals came in and they kind of ran the ball and kind of just did what they wanted. Huh?
Yeah, I just caught the very tail end of that game. I was more interested in the Bucs Ravens, but
well, and it may not even be a thing of interest. The Chargers game was on ESPN Plus, so I mean, if people don't have that, then they weren't able to see it.
Yeah. I have Hulu, so luckily it was on Hulu, and I caught the very last drive.
You have the Hulu bundle?
Yeah.
Yeah, I do too.
I caught the very, very well. I shouldn't say last drive. It was the last Chargers drive. They went down, kicked the go-ahead field goal, and then they just let Arizona run and throw down their throats to get into field goal position, and ultimately Arizona won the game because of it. But I was quite shocked because that wasn't the same defense I'd seen the first 6 weeks of the season.
No, absolutely not. And like you said, the Cardinals, they went right down the field. They went right down and just had their way with that Charger defense, and that isn't characteristic. Jim Harbaugh over the years has built a very good defense, and defense coordinator Jesse Minter has done a really good job this season. But unfortunately, they just fell a little short, and I just think that the turnovers. There was on one play the receiver caught the ball, and he was running on the sideline, and somebody came up and punched that ball out again, and it took a weird bounce because it was actually bouncing like it was going to bounce out of bounds at like the 1 yard line, which would have, still been Charger ball. Well, it like as it hits the ground instead of rolling out of bounds, it like bounced into the end zone and out of bounds, and so it was a touchback. And so Cardinals got the ball, so that was a missed opportunity right there. And then somebody else had a fumble, and so I just think that the turnovers and the lack of rushing game is what led to the Chargers not being able to pull off this win at home, or not at home, but at Arizona. You said you watched the Ravens Bucs game, so I'll let you start. I'll let you start with that.
Yeah. It definitely did not go how I expected it to. The Ravens pretty much had their way with the Bucs defense. The Bucs offense started out really hot, got up to I think it was 10-7 lead, and then they lost Mike Evans.
Yep.
And it kind of just went stagnant after that for some reason. I felt like they kind of went away from the run as they got down, which was really weird because Bucky Irving, Rashad White were pretty much having their way with running the football.
Yeah, I think early it was 10-0 right out of the gate.
Yeah, the Bucs came out hot. I mean, absolutely hot. And then the Ravens scored, and then it just was nothing from the Bucs offense after that. Baker Mayfield threw 2 interceptions, which isn't really like him.
No, he hasn't
turned the ball over a ton, but I don't know where it went wrong for the Bucs outside of Mike Evans going down. They just started doubling Chris Godwin, and I don't think they really have that great of a third wide receiver.
Right.
Abandoned the run. They did try to make it a game late, but ultimately it was, I guess, too late by then because that Tampa Bay defense was worn out, and they just kept driving down the field. Derrick Henry had a massive 81-yard run.
That guy, didn't he reach like speeds of like 21
miles an hour, something like
21.8?
21.8.
Yeah. At 30 years old, weighing like 240, 250 pounds, guys. This man is able to achieve speeds of 21 miles an hour. That is insane.
So,
go ahead.
Right before the game, he was talking about his recovery routine for after games and how he's still so good at age 30 when running backs normally fall off. And his recovery routine is insane. Like,
his diet is insane.
Yeah, he's like the day after a game, he starts with a little workout in the morning, and then he goes into cupping, hyperbaric chamber, cold baths, hot baths, stretching. Like today, he was going to get back, and it was just going to be a day of recovery from like 7 a.m. till 10 p.m. when he was ready to go to bed. And I'm just like, that is absolutely insane.
And in this recovery, though, he's not actually recovering. Like he's working. Like, is that what you're saying?
Yeah, I mean, you're helping the muscles recover.
Right.
That's what he.
Yeah, I think he pays like $25,000 a week for his diet or something.
Yeah, it was something.
It's insane. Like, but I mean, hey, it shows. At 30 years old, he's still able to be the physical runner that he was early in his career, and he's kind of defying all odds because he had a lot of carries at Alabama, guys. He had a lot of carries with Tennessee. He went to the Ravens, and he's not going to carry the ball as much, but he's still going to have quite a bit of carries running the ball for Baltimore. And I mean, he just doesn't seem like he's slowing down a bit.
No, he doesn't, and it's insane.
What a game! At the end, with 1 minute left, Chris Godwin goes down, dislocates his ankle. And people can see it both ways, and everybody is entitled to their own opinion and how Todd Bowles should have handled it. But it was kind of one of those damned if you do, damned if you don't situations, because he left him in there, and Chris Godwin got hurt. I mean, that's part of football. It was a minute left, and crazy things have happened in the NFL. We know that. And so he leaves him in, he gets hurt. Well, if he would have pulled him and pulled out Baker, I mean, they all wanted to be in there. Obviously, they're competitors, and that's what they do. But if he would have pulled them, everybody would have been like, "Oh, well, Todd Bowles gave up. He doesn't care about the team. He's not even out. He's not even trying out there." So I feel bad, like when a coach gets put in that position, because it is a damned if you do, damned if you don't. But ultimately, 10 points in a minute. I mean, crazy things have happened, and we don't know. I mean, maybe Baker could have threw a touchdown, and then, the kicker just hits this miracle onside, and then all of a sudden it's a tie ball game, and we're having a different.
Well, they had already completed one onside kick.
Okay, so
it was possible that they could have went down, drove, scored,
right,
and then kicked the onside kick and recovered it again. I mean, that is very much a situation where it's like, okay, like no matter what I do, I'm going to be put in a crap position.
Well, and this is a situation that many probably would have been like, he should have pulled. This is actually one that, I agree with Todd Bowles. I mean, he let his players decide whether they wanted to be out there, and they decided that they wanted to try. They decided they wanted to give it a go, and ultimately, I mean, he got hurt. It is part of football, unfortunately. It's honestly, basketball, it's the same thing. I mean, you have a great chance of getting hurt in basketball, but it's just part of sports. And so I don't disagree with Todd Bowles. I think he did, he was trying to get his team, because he knows in that NFC, he's going to have to either A, win the division, or B, win a lot of games. And right now, I mean, that NFC South is up for grabs with Atlanta getting beat down by Seattle. So maybe he was trying to, take over that division, and I can't blame the guy. I can't blame him at all.
No, not at all. He made the right call in that decision, in my opinion.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean,
there's just people are going to say what they want to say, and fans obviously are going to be upset about stuff, You just got to take it with a grain of salt. I mean, everybody, when Patrick Mahomes dislocated his knee that one year, everybody called out Andy Reid for, letting Patrick run the ball, like QB sneak the ball. You don't know what's going to happen.
Right.
I mean, coaches are humans too.
It's football.
And I think that's where I come from is coaches are ultimately human, and they can predict the game no better than me or you can.
Well, and the thing of it is many fans probably, many fans, the average fan probably never actually played football. They just became fans, and that's fine. Some people, just maybe they have they're not able to play, and that's so I understand. But if you haven't played football, then you kind of don't understand. Like when it's a close game, you want to be on that field. If you're a competitor and you have a competitive mindset, you want to be on that field. And so I don't blame Todd Bowles. I don't blame Chris Godwin. I mean, it could have. The same injury could have happened next week. On the very first play. So speaking of injuries, Tua has been battling a concussion, guys. He has cleared concussion protocol, has decided that he wants to continue his career. That's his choice. And he's going to start practicing on Wednesday. So he starts practicing tomorrow. This is where I kind of don't agree. He was in a press conference and they were like, "Well, are you going to start wearing a Guardian cap?" And he said no. And they're like, "Why?" And he goes, "Personal choice." Well, I get that. I mean, and I get it. You know, those Guardian caps, they don't look cool. I mean, they look goofy. I get it. But at the end of the day, like, if it meant me protecting my health, sure, I'll look goofy for an hour. You know, like I'll look goofy for a couple hours. What's your take?
Yeah, that it's pretty much that. Like, why wouldn't you?
But yeah,
Like, it doesn't make sense to me. Why wouldn't you protect your health and it
so
is yeah
I got a
it makes
question.
no sense.
He was a reporter was asking him, "Do you think it was the hit to Damar Hamlin or your head hitting the ground that gave you a concussion?" And he goes, "I don't know." What do you mean? I mean, either A, like you really remember hitting Damar Hamlin but don't remember hitting the ground, or B, you remember hitting Damar Hamlin and going to the ground and don't really remember much after that.
Yeah,
So I don't know. I don't understand how it becomes an I don't know in that situation. But he did decide that he's not going to wear the Guardian cap when he returns, and that's his prerogative. That's his choice. You know, he has the right to make that choice just like anybody else would. But in my personal opinion, I think he should wear a Guardian cap. And I mean, we saw from a right tackle for Tampa Bay in the game last night. You know, he had one of those Guardian caps on. He didn't care.
yeah.
He didn't
They
care.
don't they don't look that bad.
No,
Like, yes, they're
they're a little goofy, but not that bad. No, you're right.
yeah. And here's where I think the NFL and the NFL Player Association are doing all these things to protect against player injuries. You know, no hip drop tackles, protecting the quarterback more, protecting defenseless receivers. Why does the NFLPA? Because it's going to have to be the Players Association that steps in.
Mm-hmm.
Why don't they step in and say, "Hey, look, Tua, I realize that you want to play. The only way we're going to allow you to keep playing is to put the Guardian cap on."
Right, right. Yeah. That's a good call.
With the support of the NFL, be like, "Look, we understand, but ultimately there's life outside of this game, and we're going to do, as an association of former players and current players, what we feel is best for you, and force you to wear the Guardian cap to protect your own health."
Well, here's my thing. Here's my thing. Go have a conversation with Troy Aikman. Go have a conversation with Steve Young. Go have a conversation with Brett Favre. You know that Brett Favre, he was like, somebody was asking him, how many concussions do you think you've got in your career? You know how many he said? Probably close to 100.
No. Yeah.
He actually has Parkinson's from that.
Yeah.
Because he got too many concussions. It only takes one concussion for you to increase your chances of getting Parkinson's to like 50%. So yeah, maybe he should have a conversation with those former players to see, you know, because Aikman got told either it's you retire or you're going to be eating, you know, through a tube the rest of your life. So
Yeah.
it just becomes one of those things, you know, like I get it, you're a competitor, but think of your health as well. And I hope that he sat down and, you know, really thought this out and it's not just a rash decision because, you know, he doesn't want to let the team down and stuff like that. So,
I I just think there has to be more done on the part of the NFL and the NFL Players Association when it comes to concussions. You know, that's the only way you're going to take the competitor out of the player and actually force them to do the things they need to do to protect their health.
Right, right. So, I don't really have anything else to say on that. I'd like to just go ahead and move on to a more positive and more exciting story. Lions are the only team since the merger in a 4-game span to have more touchdowns than incompletions. They have 18 touchdowns, only 16 incompletions in the last 4 games. The Lions are for real. They were a contender last year. They fell a little short. We talked a little bit about it yesterday. Ben Johnson came back. He had multiple head coaching opportunities, and he chose to come back to Detroit as an offensive coordinator. And I like that, and I respect that. And I respect what Jared Goff is doing. Only 16 incompletions in the last 4 games. I mean, that's an average of 4 incompletions a game.
And really, 2 of those games, well, one of those games he was perfect. He went 19 of 19.
18 of 18.
And the other one, which was 18 of 18, which was this last week, he was perfect almost the entire way through again. So,
and he only had, I think,
really
3?
So 3 of those 18.
3 of those 16.
This week.
Yeah.
3 of those 16. So,
in 2 games.
You do the math. 3, 6, and 7. Yeah.
Wow. He's playing lights out football for sure. That offense. Jameson Williams. He's gonna be without Jameson Williams for 2 games though, because Mr. Jameson Williams he got suspended for testing positive for PEDs, which is crazy because he had a crappy game. He had like negative yards receiving in that game. So. He'll be without Jameson.
This past game?
Yeah.
How do you had negative yards but a touchdown?
I mean, you can have negative yards and a touchdown. Yeah, it was either this game or it was the game before, but they
it may have been the game before. I thought he played really well because
I don't know. Let's pop up this.
The announcers were calling his name a lot.
No, 1 reception, negative 4 yards. He had 1 target.
Wow. Maybe it was last game I was thinking of.
Yeah, that was yeah.
It was last game I was thinking of.
Yeah, I was gonna say I just saw
the Cowboys.
I thought I saw the stat, but it was like, dang, you're gonna test positive for PEDs after this crappy game. So the Lions will be without him, but they got Sonic, they got Knuckles, they got whatever you want to call Amon-Ra St. Brown, they got whatever you want to call Sam Laporta and Jared Goff. I'm not concerned with their offense missing Jameson Williams. Obviously, they won the ball game with him having negative 4 yards on 1 catch, so obviously they're not, doing that worried about him being gone. So excited to see. Yeah. I'm excited to see how the Lions do, man. I really am, because I hope they're aggressive. I hope they're super aggressive at the trade deadline. I want to see the Lions. I want to see the Lions go to the Super Bowl. I want to see it. Can we manifest that? Lions in the Super Bowl.
Well, right now there's no competition in the NFC. I don't feel like that stacks up to them. Their only competition that I thought could realistically stack up to them was the Vikings, and they manhandled
I would like to see them versus the Packers. That'll be another good one. So that'll be another good one. Maybe Detroit goes and gets old Myles Garrett. Myles Garrett's drawing interest from teams. I know the Browns said that he's not available, but I mean, hey, at this point, you might as well stack up your draft picks. Stack up the draft picks and try to get as many pieces in this next draft as you can. I like Myles Garrett if they can get a good deal done, I like Myles Garrett to Detroit. I think he'd help Detroit out a lot.
Yeah.
Come in, fill in that void, which didn't seem like it.
I don't think they need anybody, and I think they realized that with this game.
Man, I said it yesterday.
I think that's
Go ahead. I said it yesterday. Dan Campbell's end of game speech, his motivational speeches are just out of this world. So, I think we're having an audio issue here. I've lost sound to him, so I don't know what he's saying right now. So we'll just move forward. Oh,
test.
Yeah, man, I'm here.
Now you can hear me.
Yep,
Okay.
I can hear you now.
You
were saying
your audio cut out for a second, and then I heard Dan Campbell.
Then you were saying that
I guess my audio cut out.
You were saying that after this game, they realized.
Oh yeah, I think they realize they don't have to add anybody, and I don't think they will. I mean, Dan Campbell is somebody that has a lot of faith in the players he has, and he really wants to give the guys that he has an opportunity to shine. I think that is going to be the reason they don't add anybody at the trade deadline.
That's a good take. I like that. I like it a lot, man. I like it a lot.
And then also, you'd have to find somebody that buys into Dan Campbell's culture, which is that smash mouth style of football. You know,
right.
They practice like they want, like they're in a game. Like even their practices are smash mouth football. So I don't know if you could necessarily find somebody outside of Max Crosby that would really enjoy that type of like rigorous practice style.
Right. I did actually see something interesting that if the Lions were to make the Super Bowl, Aiden Hutchinson could be back for the Super Bowl if they make it. So
yeah,
maybe they're just like, hey, like we'll next man up it, and that's kind of been Dan Campbell's style is hey, oh okay, this receiver isn't doing anything, next man up. This lineman isn't blocking, next man up. And I really like him as a coach, and I just think that he gets them motivated. So I like that.
Yeah, he's a good coach.
This one kind of slipped through the cracks yesterday as we were making fun of Aaron and the Jets. So Aaron Rodgers has 7 interceptions in 7 games. Zach Wilson had 7 interceptions in 12 games last season and 7 interceptions in 9 games in 2022. But Aaron's receivers are the problem, or the coach was the problem. No, Aaron, I think you're the problem. You, like Steven said yesterday, man, Father Time is starting to catch up to you. And you've already got 7 interceptions, which I predict in the next game you'll probably throw at least 1. And that'll give you 8 in 8 games, which would be, the most interceptions by a Jet QB since 2022 or even longer. So a lot of issue going. Devontae Adams actually looked like he was not happy on the sideline during the game. I wonder if he was thinking maybe he should have went to the Chiefs. Maybe I should have been like, can I go to the Chiefs or anywhere but here? Because he had 3 catches for 30 yards. And, I mean, I get it. It was on a short week for him. He also lost to the Steelers twice in 7 days. That's crazy.
Yeah. He also came out after that game and said there's no excuse with the weapons we have to play that horrible.
I mean, he's right.
Yeah. I mean,
you can't have your leading receiver be Breece Hall out of the backfield. I mean, you just can't do that. Like that smells disaster, and that smells that Aaron. I think Aaron Rodgers will not be a Jet next season. Hot take.
Well, I mean, honestly, at this point, Rodgers is running out of people to blame. He's running out of things to blame.
Yeah.
Eventually, he's going to have to shoulder this blame, and that's what a real QB does. I mean, look at Patrick Mahomes. When they have a bad game, he doesn't call out individual players. He either takes the blame on himself, like, hey, I played bad, or he's like, hey, we played bad as a unit. He doesn't. It's never, oh, Andy Reid didn't give me the right play calls. Even if they ask about the play calling, Patrick does really well about, like, hey, Coach Reid puts us in the best position to win. He gives us the plays. It's up to us to execute. And that's not Aaron Rodgers. That's not Aaron Rodgers at all, and that's never been Aaron Rodgers.
Well, I don't know. Something's got to give in New York. I'm not sure who they play this week. But if they don't do something soon, you might as well kiss any playoff chance goodbye, because
I think they're already out of playoff contention.
I mean, if the Bills just went on a losing streak and they somehow caught wind and got on a winning streak, but anyway,
they play New England.
Ooh.
This week.
Okay. Interesting. Might be a good I don't know. Might be interesting on who picks who in this game. Well, I think it is that wonderful time of the day, my man. Yeah, I think it is.
Time for the call out?
Time for the call out, where we call you out. We actually have an offensive lineman in the call out section. Oh, my man, let's go. We don't talk a lot offensive line and defensive line, but we're going to talk about a certain offensive lineman that plays for the Tampa Bay Buccaneers, Mr. Tristan Wirfs. Last night, he received his first holding penalty since 2022. Okay, so he's went, a year and a half without a holding penalty. It is only his fourth holding penalty in 70 career starts. Bravo for being an elite tackle, and not only having 4 holding calls in 70 starts. That's impressive.
That's crazy.
Yeah,
that is impressive.
You look at old Jawan Taylor, and he's got like 70 false starts in 5 games, and
yeah, should have had 20 more.
And he has quite a bit of holding penalties. So the fact that, and didn't he switch to left tackle now? I think so. So
who?
Tristan Wirfs.
Yeah.
So now he's protecting the blind side of Baker Mayfield. And he's only got his 4th holding penalty in 70 career starts. So bravo, Mr. Tristan. Next up, I would like to recognize this person for character. Okay, we talk a lot of stats in the call out section, but this one in particular, we're going a little different, and we're going to call him out based on good character. Mr. Saquon Barkley, I would like to call you out and say I respect you, because Nick Sirianni came to you on the sideline and he goes, you know that you're only 13 yards away from breaking your career high? And Sirianni says, hey, I want you to get this. I want this for you. And Mr. Saquon Barkley, you just very calmly looked at him and said, nah, let the young boys eat. He would rather see the young boys eat than go ahead and break a personal record of his. So big shout out to you. That speaks volumes on character. I mean, not a lot of players, a lot of people would be like, yeah, let me go ahead and break that record of mine. What do you think, bud?
Yeah, I mean, that's there's a lot of guys that would definitely go out and get that record, but
nah, he said let the young boys eat.
Yep, Saquon's a different breed for letting the young boys eat.
Letting them young boys eat, man. The game was already out of control. He knew that the record didn't really mean anything. He's like, I'm gonna get a little rest. Let them young boys eat. So Saquon, I applaud you. We applaud you. very well done, man. I have actual mad respect for you right now. So, next up, we're going back to the stats. First up, Mr. Justin Jefferson has the third most receiving yards in the first 5 seasons, with 6,430 yards, faster than Jerry Rice's 6,364. Only behind Randy Moss, who had 6,743, and Torrey Holt, who had 6,784. Job well done to Mr. Justin Jefferson. You're an elite receiver in this league. You're a lot of fun to watch. You doing the gritty is probably like the best thing that, best touchdown celebration that got, big in the NFL. I like it. I'm for it. And now you see everybody trying to do the gritty. Third fastest in the first 5 seasons. Or third most in the first 5 seasons.
It's impressive. Some nice company to be in right there.
I'm just looking at this. Hall of Fame, Jerry Rice. Hall of Fame, Randy Moss. And Hall of Fame, Torrey Holt. So, great company to be in right now. Looking forward to seeing you, crush many, many more records. You're still young, and I'm very much looking forward to your career, my man. So, big shout out to Justin Jefferson. All right. We can't have a call out on a Tuesday without this man here, Mr. Lamar Jackson. Lamar Jackson, guys. Lamar Jackson went 17-22, 333 yards and 5 touchdowns last night. Okay. He ties the single passing touchdown with 5. The rest of the Ravens only have 2 touchdowns in a game. That is the 5th time he has 5 touchdowns with 5 or fewer incompletions. And he actually has the most games doing it. He has 4 games with 5 touchdowns and 5 or fewer incompletions. Everybody doesn't talk. Nobody talks about your passing much anymore. They always want to say Lamar wants to run the ball. Well, Lamar can pass the ball, okay? And that's scary because now he's running around and you don't know if he's going to take off, if he's going to hand it to Derrick Henry, if he's going to play action it to Derrick Henry, act like he's going to take off, bomb at 50 yards. He had 5 incompletions. He had 5 touchdowns, 333 yards. I mean, that's against the Tampa Bay Buccaneers defense that, going into this game actually, was one of the better defenses. And I don't know. People underestimate his passing ability, I feel like.
Yeah, probably a little bit, but I mean, he's good, but he's real good most of the time. But let's see come playoff time if that still sticks, because that's normally when that old Lamar comes out and he starts throwing a little bit worse and running a little bit more.
Well, now he's got Derrick Henry to take some of that off of him, so it'll be interesting to see. I actually think Lamar and Derrick Henry and the Ravens have enough to probably make it to the AFC Championship. So we'll have to see how that plays out. That's the call out, guys. We called out some great people. No bad call outs today. I think that's a first. First time not having a bad call out. So what a wonderful time when we can have a great call out and it all be good call outs. I like that. Well, Mr. Ashton Jeanty has been gaining a lot of buzz around the college football world. And it's starting to translate to the NFL. Jamar Gibbs is now standing like Ashton Jeanty does in the backfield. Just stands there like Michael Myers, gets the ball, and then runs for a massive touchdown. Jeanty, you're already an inspiration to NFL players, and you haven't even got drafted yet. I just hope he doesn't go to a crappy team. Like, I hope he doesn't go to the Cowboys. I hope he doesn't, I want him to go to a good team or a team that I don't, or a team that I like, or not to a team that I dislike. Where do you think he ends up? You think he's top 10 pick?
In this draft class, yeah.
Oh, I like that.
In this draft class, I'd say top 5 pick.
Oh, wow.
That's more to do with the talent in the draft. If this was any other draft, I don't think he'd go first round, just because running backs normally don't.
Right.
But with this draft class being so,
he's like a smaller Derrick Henry.
Yeah, this draft class is just so lackluster. Outside of, Shador, Travis Hunter. Shador, there's not really many other QBs. Carson Beck hasn't played well. Quinn Ewers,
No.
I don't think has done enough to warrant a high first-round pick.
But unfortunately, it becomes one of those, somebody is going to want to trade up and get one of these quarterbacks because, I got to have a quarterback.
Well, see, right now, I don't see, outside of the Raiders,
Giants,
Rams
could use
I
a
don't
QB.
see many teams. Yeah, but it's not so pressing that they have to trade up to do it.
Okay, that's fair.
They could kind of set back. Matthew Stafford's not going to retire after this year. He's still playing pretty well for, what he has offensively right now with the injuries. The two biggest to me would be the Giants and the Raiders.
Gosh.
And I think the Raiders are just boneheaded enough that they're not going to take a QB.
I would actually feel bad for Shador if he went to the Raiders. I would feel so bad for him.
Yeah.
Because, let's think about it. Let's think about this. You're going to a Raiders organization that is already dysfunctional, don't have a great receiver unless you acquire one via trade or free agency or you draft one. But, okay, so you basically got Brock Bowers, okay? And then now you have to go against Broncos pass rush, Chargers pass rush, Chiefs pass rush. Like, oh my God. I would honestly feel bad for him if he went to the Raiders.
He'd be the next Jamarcus Russell.
Yeah. I would feel bad for him if he went to the Giants. At least with the Giants, they have like a great offensive-minded coach and Malik Neighbors. So at least he would have a weapon to throw to and somewhat of a line. Not a great line, but so I don't know. We'll have to, as the season progresses, we'll have to sit down and kind of think of, some of the top prospects and like where we'd like to see them go. But Raiders, they're pretty bad. They're pretty bad, and they don't have it easy this week, guys. They play the defending champ Kansas City Chiefs. Oof. I was gonna pick against the Chiefs this week. Until I found out that it was the Raiders. So, spoiler, I'm picking the Chiefs this week.
Well, I don't know why you'd pick against the Chiefs. Look what they just done to the 49ers. Patrick Mahomes didn't play well, and they still beat them pretty bad.
Yeah, it was pretty bad. Pretty bad. I would actually like to, and maybe it's not a hot take because the 49ers are kind of banged up a little bit. But I'm going to go ahead and say on a Tuesday, we don't normally make our NFL picks till Friday. But I'm going to go ahead and make one of my picks. Obviously, it's two, I guess, because, I am taking Kansas City this week. I think my hot take is that I'm going to pick the Dallas Cowboys to win a football game. That's my hot take. And they're going to beat the 49ers. The 49ers are a little banged up right now. And I don't care if this game was in Dallas or in San Francisco. Dallas is going to win this game. That's my hot take of the week. Oh? Yeah, I caught this guy off guard.
I mean, that's definitely a take, I guess.
It's a hot take.
I mean,
let's hear your hot take of the week. You know, just
I don't have a hot take of the week yet. Nothing has piqued my interest enough to.
No, just pick a game. Just pick a game, and be like, no ifs, ands, or buts. This is going to happen.
Okay, hold on. Let me look at the games this week.
I was actually while he does that. I was actually talking with my buddy at work today about this, and I said, my hot take is going to be the Dallas Cowboys is going to beat the 49ers, and I'm gonna stick to it, guys. Go ahead and lock that in. That is my lock of the week. Not saying that you should pick the Dallas Cowboys. I'm just saying that I'm picking the Dallas Cowboys, and. No, I just, they're playing a banged up 49er team, and I feel like Jerry Jones has went to McCarthy and said, hey, you embarrassed me on my birthday. Now we had a bye week, so now we had an extra week to prepare for these guys. You better not embarrass me again in my house. All right, you got it?
My hot take of the week is no matter what happens, New England's going to beat the Jets.
Wow! He said, no matter what happens, the Patriots are going to beat the Jets. Oh, that is hot. Ooh, that's like burning in the oven, like you're about to burn your food hot. Ooh, that's interesting. I like it. Let me write that down. Steven's hot take is Patriots win. I like it, buddy. I like it. We'll have to see, and obviously, we'll on Friday we'll talk about the NFL picks. Tonight is the lower class teams of the college football world. Sam Houston at FIU. I'm taking Sam Houston. And
Sam Houston.
UTEP actually kind of slid through the cracks last week, and we didn't talk about this, but they actually pulled off the upset last week and got their first win of the season. Now they go to Louisiana Tech. I'm going to go ahead and pick UTEP for a 2-game win streak. Oh, my gosh. I like UTEP here.
Yeah.
So
UTEP seems.
I don't know. Louisiana Tech's. I don't know much about either one of these schools, any of them. It's a Tuesday, so if you're just like, oh man, I didn't get enough football over the weekend, the next 2 nights will kind of give you a little. Also, it'll be the start of 5 straight days of college football again. Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, Saturday. So this part of the year is great. It's football every day. I'm probably not going to watch these games if I'm being real. I don't know enough about them, and I'm not even sure if the second game is going to be shown on TV or not. So
yeah.
Well, let's see. We got a couple more things to talk about real quick. Raiders are signing Desmond Ridder off of the Arizona Cardinals practice squad. Obviously, they're signing, this move is because Aiden O'Connell got hurt and is expected to miss 4 to 6 weeks. But, I don't know. Could the Raiders say, hey, let's see what Ridder's got? You think Ridder or Minshew? Which would you rather have?
Minshew.
Really? I don't know. I might see what Ridder has to offer.
Ridder played last year in Atlanta, was given the chance to start, right? Could not do anything could not do anything with Drake London and Kyle Pitts.
Well, I mean, that was Arthur Smith as a head coach.
Excuses, excuses.
I don't know. It's real hard to trust a guy that picks his nose and eats his boogers, you know? I don't know.
Yeah, but at least he had some success in his NFL career.
Well, true, but I don't know, man. It's still hard to get on board with the booger picker eater Minshew. Anyway, it is probably more or less just to make sure that they have enough quarterbacks on their roster, but it is something to keep an eye on. Maybe you have Minshew in your fantasy team and you have an extra spot, and maybe Desmond Ritter's the only guy out there. Might be worth a pickup. I mean, if you have a spot to stash, but I mean, I don't know. It's probably going to be Minshew, and then the Raiders will focus on getting a high draft pick and trying to take Sanders. Okay, we have one more little story. Apparently, the Kansas City Chiefs are rumored to have reached out to the Rams on the availability of Mr. Cooper Kupp. Oh my gosh, if this happens, just go ahead and fast forward to the Super Bowl and Chiefs three-peat.
Yeah.
Because if this happens, guys, that means Patrick Mahomes will now have a great receiver, along with, already Travis Kelce, Xavier Worthy, Kareem Hunt. Pacheco is he out for the season, or if they make playoff, like Super Bowl, he could come back?
Well, so here's the deal. I'm not sure that Pacheco won't be back before the end of the season. He is already way far ahead in his recovery timeline.
Okay. Well,
he's already running on treadmills. So
there you have it. I mean, if Pacheco comes back in the middle of the season, they're going to dominate the regular. They're going to dominate the post.
Yeah, I think he will probably come back towards the end of the year. I see the Chiefs, if they've got the division and maybe a first-round bye locked up, he ain't going to play before the playoffs. But it's looking like a possibility that he could be back before the end of the year.
So, okay, so, we'll say that he is back. And then you add Mr. Cooper Kupp. And then and everybody wants to talk about Patrick Mahomes and the offense, and that's great. But nobody really talks about the Chiefs' defense, which is equally as good. They just don't have. I mean, they have Chris Jones and they have Trent Duffy, but outside, and they have other playmakers. Don't get me wrong, but their defense just kind of goes unnoticed. And guys, don't sleep on the Chiefs' defense. Like, I'm telling you, I see their defense twice a year as they play the Chargers. And obviously, I see them almost every week because I live pretty much close to Chief Kingdom. So, I don't know. It's just everybody forgets about this defense and Steve Spagnuolo, and you shouldn't. If they get Cooper Kupp, that's a fast forward to the Super Bowl and go ahead and crown them.
Yeah.
That'd
be scary.
That's depending if the Rams want to part ways with Cooper Kupp. I mean, Kupp still has a good couple of years left in him. I don't know. Maybe they do it to clear up some salary, but I don't know. It's just something to look for, be monitoring. That's what we're going to be doing. Do you have anything else that you would like to add before?
I don't think I do.
Oh, we got one more little story to talk about. It almost slipped through the cracks again, guys. That's how tiny of a story it is because it's not even official yet. But the NFL could narrow the goalpost if kicker accuracy continues to rise. Already, already like record-breaking pace kicker accuracy. So I don't know. I kind of feel like there's still enough misses that it should still they should just leave it alone. I mean, it's been like this for a while now. And if you look at a college goalpost compared to an NFL, I mean, it's already quite narrowed. So,
Well, here's my thoughts. If you want to make the game more exciting, why not just remove the extra point? You can still kick field goals, but why don't you, instead of the after point try, why don't you do something like some of the other leagues, like the XFL, where it's like, okay, you can have a 2-point try from the 2-yard line or a 3-point try from the 10-yard line, something like that, like just get creative with it. Like if you're that concerned with it, like,
well, I don't know if it's the extra point so much as it is the field goals. They're just saying like field goals in general. There's been a high kicker accuracy, so
I mean,
I don't know. That's what they're saying. That they're on pace for like a record-breaking field goals made this year. So,
I mean, I just don't see the point in it. Like I don't.
No,
like,
I don't either. I think you should just leave it alone. The goalposts are a pretty good size. Kickers still miss. I mean, look at the Jets kicker. He's went like 2 or 3 games in a row of doinking it. So
yeah, I mean,
but well, and like I said, and it's not even confirmed that they are. They're just talking that they could, and it wouldn't even be like next season or the following year. It would be that like in the future. So, it's something that they'll, I'm sure figure out. And Roger Goodell, if you're listening, don't narrow the goalpost. Leave it alone. Some rules, and some things, aspects we can change in the NFL to make it better, but leave the goalpost the way it is.
yeah, like.
So, well, guys,
That's just changing stuff for the sake of changing stuff at that point.
Yeah, you're right. So, well, guys, I think we're out of time for the day. It's been a great show. We thank you for tuning in and listening, whether it is your first time or you're a returning viewer. We couldn't do this without you. Please, like it, share it, comment, leave reviews, help us grow, help us continue to grow this wonderful podcast. And together we will continue to answer the call. Come on.